replay, close your eyes because I have to adjust. I think that should give us about what we need. Let me clean up some of my mess. See, we'll take that out of the equation. Is that better? Oh, much better. Don't mind me. If you've been here before, you know this is an unorganized mess. Welcome, welcome. Now remember, make sure if you're watching the chat to be on live chat, because the other options are top chat. And we don't want top chat because that's only going to show you some of the things. Oh, look, I have an ad. I don't want to become a member because that would make no sense. And then if the picture isn't the greatest on the live or afterwards, you can do the little spinny wheel, go to quality. Looks like 720 is the highest on the live. You could probably get 1080 on the replay. Hi, Ellen. Hi, Jackie. Oh, the peppermint fabric is really fun. It's not part of what we're using today. Like I'm using a charm pack, but I thought it would be really fun to add it in. So I have that. I'm using Kitty Christmas. We will talk more. We have a few minutes. I'm trying to get one side of the stocking done so that I kind of know what I'm doing before we get sewing. Hi, Jody. It was, when I checked at like 9:30, quarter to 10, it was like 74 degrees here. It's gorgeous mornings that we've been having. I'm trying to follow the pattern exactly as it is. Oh, happy Jelly Roll Day, everyone. I'm trying to follow this pattern as it's written on this little tiny piece of paper here. And I watched one video for the squares and I found 2 videos for the stripes. And I don't know, you know me, reading directions, and I just don't do well. But I want to have it for anyone who's making this so that they can follow along with the directions. But I find myself just making it up as I go. Hi, Sharon. Hi, RV Quilt. That's what your temperature is right now? I think that's about what the temperature is in my room. The AC is set at 76, but this morning I think it was more down to about 72 in here. This room gets really cold. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. I know what. I chose the winner, or my phone, I did a random number generator and it chose the winner for the jelly roll over on Instagram. So you might want to go check sometime today to see if you were the winner. I don't think the winner has notified me yet. I chose it at 10 o'clock. So let's see. Excuse me for reaching in front everywhere. No messages. So the winner does not know yet. It's so exciting when you go and you find out that you won something, and it's actually one of our people and not just a random person that went and commented and sent it to the friend and commented on something or something like that. So I thought it was really great. I like when we have a name. I don't mind whoever wins, but I like when we have a name that we all recognize. Once we get a little bit past 11, I will start at the very beginning on the other half of the stocking because I only prepared one so far. Janie made it, woohoo! I'm so glad you can make it. Now remember when times change next month, I was just listening to a UK podcaster, and I think UK times change before ours do. Arizona doesn't do daylight savings time, so our time here, right now, it's like 3 hours behind Eastern time. But once the time change comes, then we're going to be 2 hours behind Eastern summer, daylight, whatever time. Y'all know what I mean. So everyone's going to have to adjust when the videos come out and something. What if you like your jelly rolls too much to use them? Well, then that would make you absolutely 100% normal, Jody, because we all do that. I haven't worked with too many jelly rolls in the past, but I have been gifted a few jelly rolls and a mini jelly roll, plus the one from Missouri Star. I am 100% going to work my way up to the jelly roll rugs, but I'm going to start with jelly roll coasters, jelly roll placemats, maybe for like the cat's, well, not my cat's water bowl, someone else's, because my cats are a mess. Our big girl, she is 12 now, and we call her Fat Cat because she's our biggest cat. I think she only weighs like 14 pounds, so it's not too bad. But she sits down wherever she wants, and she pulls the water bowl to her, and then she likes to splash in it. Hello, Frida from Texas. Jackie's going to sit down and relax for a minute. Woohoo! This week has flown by. Trying to think what I've accomplished this week to show on Whip It Wednesday. I don't know. I was working on the Advent, so thank you guys for the ones that have already purchased one of my Advents, the inaugural year. It is in the shop, in my Etsy shop, just RsIslandCrafts, or you can check the description box down below. I have too much microphone cord. I don't care what the rules are. I like to iron things, and this row doesn't have anywhere to touch the batting. So, whoop. I'm a little loud today. I'm going to do the little ones first, and I will probably do the video. There's one thing that I'm waiting on. I have the batting for the little coasters and stuff. I don't know if I'll use the roll that I have, but I might save that for a rug and just cut my own batting. But I do have, someone sent me when I was still in Florida. It's probably been a couple of years now. They sent me the jelly roll pattern. I think I have the rectangle roll pattern, which is really simple to figure out. But they sent me the tool. So the original jelly roll designer, I think they're the ones that designed a tool. Clover has one now too, but it's like $30. Like, I don't know if I want to spend $30. I'll see. First, I want to see the tool I already have. It's in the garage in a box somewhere. Putting silicone spool savers on most of my spools of embroidery thread. That's a really good idea to keep everything from getting too messy. Jody has a Harry Potter set. I didn't know they had a Harry Potter set. That sounds really nice. All right, so here is stocking number 2. I'm going to stop with this one. I just wanted to make sure we're not here until midnight or 4 o'clock trying to get this done. Oh, you're getting ready? Yeah, getting ready to pack everything up, because when you pull them out, I found that no matter how neat I am, when you pull them out of the boxes, something shifts and they move and they explode while moving. Mine get messy just sitting here. So these are the fabrics I've chosen. I brought in this aqua. I was thinking about Jody's Boutiques. I brought in this aqua snowflake. It's got some sparkles, but this is a jelly roll. Just about everything here today is going to be from Missouri Star, so I marked it as a paid promotion because this is Kitty Christmas by Urban Chicks. I picked this up a couple months ago from Missouri Star. And to give everyone an update, I keep checking daily because around this time every month is when they allow you to, because you have to apply every month to be a partner. So you have to send in the application, and in the past it's gone through like that. You choose what you would like to have sent to you, and then I usually have a box within a week. I have not gotten the, nobody's offered up the application to me. So no one sent invitation. So I have not been invited, so I don't know if they're waiting for birthday bash, they're waiting, if maybe they're not doing the partner for the rest of the year. So for everyone that was wondering about that 20% discount and stuff, I have not heard anything yet. So here's where we're at. I picked this because I didn't want a Christmas charm pack full of cats, but there is, let me see, I separated them. You're supposed to have for this pattern, this stocking pre-printed, the June Taylor Quilt As You Go square stocking. Missouri Star has it, and they also have the one with stripes, but I figure I already have a video for just doing our own stripes and you can figure it out. So I thought I would do the squares. I am not going to be fancy enough to have red and green. I wanted to go with this one. So this kitty has, I'm going to be lost today, guys. I'm really sorry. You need 24.5-inch squares. So I took my charm packs and I cut them down to 4.5. Of course, I saved all of the little bits, the 1/2 inch I cut off, because there's so many of them. If I cut 20, that means I have 40. I have 20 long ones from here, and then when I went across, I have 20 short ones. So they have to get turned into a fabric postcard. So I separated them out. I tried to do 2 of this and 2 of this, but a lot of these are only single ones. So I had 2 of the pinkies, and then there's a gray, and then a second gray, and that's it for the cats, I think. Oh, nope, there's some aqua. So you have 6 cats, and then the rest is just Christmassy stuff. So even if you're not into cats, you can pull those 6 out and do something else, give them to someone or make it for a cat lover type thing. So I thought that was really great. So we're not going to have to, it's not all cat crazy. When you get charm packs, look at the picture to see what fabrics are in them, because even if you don't, like if you want a Halloween one and you don't want skulls, if you look, sometimes there's only like 2 skulls in it. This stocking is, let's see if it says finished size is 10 by 18. You can Google stocking, free stocking pattern, stocking outline. You can take a stocking that you have in your Christmas bin and trace around it. Add seam allowance if you want, or don't add seam allowance, totally up to you. If you're good, you can draw a stocking, but there's so many out there that you can. I've gone to the Dollar Tree because I saw a stocking with the shape, because some of them are chunky short toes, and I like the traditional toe that goes like this. This one's a little bit short, but it's not too bad once we sew it all together. So I've gone to the Dollar Tree and gotten the mini stockings and the regular ones and just traced around them to get a pattern. Hi, Terry. Welcome to our little community here. Self-taught 69-year-old quilting since COVID. Oh, so you have only been quilting for a little bit. Welcome to the quilting community. I do a lot of things on this channel, and this one doesn't show you that I'm doing it, but I do love to use leftover scraps of fabric. For this one, you could be using any squares that you want, since they are 4.5 inches. Once you see how this is going together, you could easily change this to your own. I decided that even I got a commercial. That's just really funny. I think we're going to get some ads today, people. All right, skip out of the ad. Okay, there we are. Hopefully we all get the ads at the same time, so it's not too bad. My apologies for crazy ads today. I decided that since I didn't see a lot of videos or anything online too much for this, that I'm going to follow the pattern 92%, because I've already changed things up, so you'll see as I go. But I'm going to mostly follow the pattern. And then I decided, okay, I'll do one stocking so you can see how it all goes together. But if I were to purchase this, I would take this over to a light box or a sunny window. I would put a sheet of paper on here, wrapping paper, tape a couple pieces of lined paper together, and I would trace this out, and I would draw the lines and trace them with a ruler. That would give me a template. Then I would take this one, this would be one, and I don't want, another reason not to do it, because I didn't want the stockings to go in different directions. I like when they go to the left. I'm pretty sure that's the normal way. This will be reversible. But then I would make it so that I can do that and make more of them, even though I've only purchased one. I could also take this one, since it comes connected like this. So you could take this one, since it's a rectangle, put it up to the window and trace your lines on the back of the batting. And then you can have two stockings. You can have patchwork on the front, and then you can have just a piece of fabric on the back. Because in reality, most people aren't going to see the back of the stocking because it's hanging by the chimney with care, correct? So that's my 2 cents there, because we always like to try to save a little money and get more for, more bang for our buck and stuff like that. All right, so this is side 2. I'm going to set this aside, but I need to move more of this. Quick show. I'm going to show this later, probably in an Instagram video, but I have a fairy crafty godmother. I go back and forth with it. But she saw a video with these are Dollar Tree bins, and she saw someone that was sorting their fabrics for a project in these. I think you could put like different snacks in it, crackers and cheese and stuff. But she sent me some scraps that she's not using and put them in here and sorted them like that for me. So she thought I would enjoy having these, and she's absolutely right. But this is for another day. I cannot look at these and play with these because now I have nowhere to put anything. All right, 1 second. So I don't want to get too far involved with those because those definitely have piqued my interest. All right. Just make sure I have everything, because I have one of those little Dollar Tree plastic bins here that I stored my project and stuff in. Look, I had a couple, oh, that one's not quite empty, but I did have a couple empty ones in the closet that I could pull out. I'm just sorting through so that once we get going, I'll get back in the rhythm, but I want to sort these out of the way so that we can work with this. One project, one side of the stocking at a time. Okay. I brought my table back out. I think I'm telling my patrons in tomorrow's video, I totally forgot I had an extension table for this Juki after the move, because I put it in my messy closet so that it didn't get broken or anything, and I forgot that I have it. So I wanted to definitely bring it out for this project because it makes so much easier, when you have this with the extension table to hold the weight of your projects and stuff. Oh, you got the fat quarter stocking templates, 9.5 by 18. Yeah, that sounds about right. I purchased the Minky Kim Zariano. It depends on where you go with, what she's doing, but she had a Quilt As You Go Flying Geese stocking. It's actually in my Etsy shop right now if you kind of want to see what I'm talking about. When we get to the end of this one, I'll talk a little bit more about it, because her stockings have binding on the outside of it versus sewing them two together and all of that stuff. Because with the Quilt As You Go, we are going to put the lining on this at the same time. Now, if you were with me on the Whip It Wednesday video, this 100% has scrim on it. I tested it. My iron does stick to it. So as you're doing it, you can't press with your iron directly on it because it melts it and it'll crinkle the stocking and it'll get it out of shape and your iron will be a mess. You'd need lots of those trays, huh, Jackie? She knows that I like to separate out my 1.5-inch strips by, excuse me, I will reach. Whoops. I'm attached to a leash. I have Etsy orders to go out. So thank you guys so much for those of you that took advantage of the flash sale. I don't know if Etsy still has it. You'll be able to see in my shop, it'll say everything's 20% off. But I have my rainbow 1.5-inch strips here. I have to be really careful because they do get messy. I'm thinking about putting cardboard borders in, because these are 1.5 inches, my most used size. And then I'm going to use the other ones for all of the other sizes. And then I have some binding that I'm going to move to another container now that I have them. And then I just have like polka dots and whites and blacks and grays and browns. This has been a lifesaver. It saves me so much time. When I'm working on a project, I'll just cut a 1.5 inch strip off and throw it in there, even though I might not need it or something. So that the next project, when I need 100 1.5 inch squares, they're right there. I can just pull them out. Okay, so what I did with this project, this is my spraying adhesive pressing mat, pressing cloth type thing. So I took this and I just put a little corner of it onto my stocking because I can see through it. There's a line that goes all the way past the stocking line. So I put that down there. I took my very hot iron and I pressed it outside the stocking line, and I gave it a good press. And I just pressed on it nice and hard because this stocking is all creased and wrinkled and I want to press it. But first I want to make sure that the line does not disappear, which has its strong points and weak points, and I'll show you why in a minute. But the line did not disappear. There is scrim on it, so you can put the pressing cloth down. Put my stocking down. Hi, Judith. Oh, I'm so glad you found us. I use my 40% off coupon at Joann's, and you can get her Quilt As You Go bib kit, and it includes 3. Wow, that's a really good deal then. Great way to use up some of your precious offcuts. Yeah. And you never know, who's going to need. I used to keep, when my kids were really hanging out with a lot of people in Florida and they were all getting married and having babies, I would keep a lot of bibs and burp cloths on hand, so my kids would just shop my stash of baby items for their friends for gifts, and then they would go to the store and they'd buy them, like some bottles or diapers or something. While diapers are always appreciated, you kind of want something else to go with it. Have you seen the pinwheel stocking pattern bean counter quilts? I don't even know who bean counter quilt. Jackie, you know what? I think I need to get in a habit of just keeping pen and paper out because Jackie finds all the good places. Let's see. Bean counter quilts. A lot of the times I don't watch videos on YouTube or follow channels. I do like to follow like different quilt shops and stuff, but pinwheel stocking. But the problem is if they're just pinwheel stocking, can't talk and write. If they're just doing like a quilt along with someone and they're just always showing the quilt along stuff, I really don't get into that. So I tend not to watch those channels too much. Now I never get the wrinkles all the way out, and it's okay because we will be doing the Quilt As You Go and some of it will come out. Plus I'm going to spray baste this in 1 second and it's going to also help. Now, before I do anything else, I am going to trim a 1/2 inch or so around. Oh, it's on Amazon and Etsy. I'll have to look. I'm going to trim around this stocking because I don't need all of this extra. When we're done with the stocking, we're going to be cutting right on that line. You can just put your backing or your lining fabric on, but I'm just going to trim it off because I just don't think I need to have that much. So let me be awkward and go like this. And then I can save some of this batting and use it on another project. Not that piece. I don't want that one. Just make sure you leave yourself a good buffer for in case anything shrinks a little, because when you do Quilt As You Go, it shrinks. Don't mind me being rude, not letting you see what I'm doing. I'm just cutting around. Once I get my backing fabric on or lining fabric, I'm going to do the same thing. Now, if you say someone, like, say I sent you this kit, right? Well, I call it a kit, but this Quilt As You Go batting, and you're like, I don't want to do that, but I have the batting. What am I going to do? Just go ahead and sew your squares or your scraps together. Use one giant piece of fabric. Ignore all of this. Just turn it into a stocking. See this? because of what I make, I'll sew some of this, like these big pieces together, because I have another one, and use that to make my fabric postcards. There's no point in throwing all of that away. It's the good cotton batting that I like. I just don't like the scrim. Now I have a piece of, this is white fabric, white on white with the snowflakes printed on it. I found it when I was looking for a larger stocking. I like the larger stockings, especially when you're going to fill them and like put them on the floor underneath a tree or something like that. So this is my lining fabric, and to be able to use it as a lining, I want to put right sides down. We're going to be working on this, so make sure you don't have any threads or anything like that. And then I have my stocking right sides up, so the wrong sides together. Make sure you have enough that at least your fabric's past the line. So if it's good past your batting, we're doing good. Now when I do spray adhesive, let me cover my computer because we don't need to spray that. I just put this pressing cloth down. I have a bunch of these. These are those dishcloths that you can, Rob had them, my husband, he had them when he was doing that cross stitch you do with paint from like Martha White or something like that. So he didn't use them all, so I just use them for this because I don't use them for drying dishes or anything, or my hands. Normally I spray directly onto the fabric and not the batting because the batting absorbs it. I am using the Spray and Bond basting adhesive. This little can, which is 7.2 ounces, is like $10 and change. But I found that I really like it. And flour sack, there you go, perfect. Thank you guys for always knowing the words I want. I've decided to consider this a crafting and business expense, just like I would thread and fabric, because I prefer this over just pinning for like mini quilts and stuff. You can easily pin baste this. If you're going to wash it, you can use like Elmer's glue or a glue stick. So I take half of it down. I'm going to kind of angle it a little bit because it doesn't hurt it, but I don't want to get spray basting on the stocking. And I'll just put a light spray on this, shake it up. You're supposed to do 6 to 12 inches, cover the surface, well-ventilated area, but yeah. It usually doesn't spray too much. I do tend to get it on my phone, which is usually sitting on the table, and my tablet, but that's only because I don't move it. Smooth it all out. Now, in this pattern, it tells you don't iron anything, never use your iron, and that's because of the scrim. But I'm going to go ahead and use my iron because I prefer that. Spray this. You can see the lines through it, so you know, whatever works for you. Not everyone likes the spray base and not everyone likes the pin base, so we all find our way. I did pre-iron the snowflakes because I did both of them. And I'm going to be gentle. I'm not going to rule like I would normally do and stuff, but I do want to push to the edge, so any of these wrinkles with a little bit of pressure, I always get a little fold, so I just hold that fabric and push, tug, just to get it to lay nice. If you pull on things too much, when you let go, it shrinks back, kind of like pie crust and pizza dough and stuff. So you don't want to pull too much. You just want to hold it in place. Put some pins in it. It's cotton batting. It really isn't 100% necessary. And if you don't want to do this style of quilt as you go just through the batting and then make your stocking with a lining. I have several stocking videos. I show some easy lining ones. Instead of turning it through the top, there's one where you sew all of it together and turn through the side and stuff. Non-stick pressing cloth, yeah. Hi, the Steel Lover, welcome, welcome. No, we're just rambling still. We haven't really gotten to anything too serious. We are talking about shopping and pressing cloths. I have connected now my lining to my pre-printed stocking, wrong sides together. I will try to hold my iron while moving this out of the way. There we go. If your iron starts to fall, I know they're expensive, but let them fall. You grab it with your hands, you're going to get a big blister. All right, let's move this out of the way. Drink time. I wanted to say a huge thank you to anyone who sent to me a specialized cup. I know I use them like when I first get them and you guys never see them in live streams. This is my favorite because it stays ice cold all day, and if I knock it over, it doesn't spill. For those of you that sent me the Stanley type cups, I do use them, but I use them in my car when I'm traveling because this guy doesn't fit in the cup holder. I tried a special cup holder and I hated it because it sticks up higher and stuff. So don't worry, I do appreciate your cups and I do use them. I'll be using them more in the winter because my daughter and I will be going on adventures. All right. Have you changed your sewing machine needle lately? Have you cleaned the bobbin area of your machine? Have you taken a soft cloth and wiped it down? I have fuzz on mine. I usually wipe mine down every morning before I start. I didn't today because I, was running behind. Okay. Now, you could sit here and lay everything out and say, okay, I want that there. Then I want that there. So if this is 2 pinkies, maybe I'll put that. And then that there. I have to think opposite of the one that I just made. Let me pull this guy over. So in these areas, we're going to sew these as we go, but these have to be sewn ahead of the time. And this is the one where I'll show you where I cheated. So I'm just kind of winging it. This is a charm pack. They all go together. Now, the lines printed on here are the places where you line up your fabrics. It is not your stitching line, and it doesn't look like, things aren't always printed. Nope, nope, nope. Non-stick press cloth. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, so you can see it a little bit. Let me show you an oopsie that, of course, happened right afterwards. Let me come in close. So I chose to put this white on here. Can you see? That's that blue line right there. Not a big deal, but if you're using light colored fabrics, maybe, make sure that line is going to be your fabric is just past it a little bit so that it doesn't show, because we're going to have extra over here, because when we put this one on, it's going to cover up this weird 1, 2, 3, 4-sided non-rectangular type thing. So I think I will put this one on this time to, wait, nope, 1, 2. Put this one on this time to cover up that seam. Oh, you haven't cleaned your machine. Jody, once the words leave my mouth, they're no longer my responsibility, so I do not hold on to them. So I always need someone to remind me what I just said. I started writing things down like when I do videos, so when you guys come back and talk about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. Okay, so we're going to use, the pattern says you'll hear how often I say so. I don't do I say so a lot. The pattern says to use a scant 1/4 inch. I learned a long time ago that I don't like the scant 1/4 inch. I just used a 1/4 inch. If my read directions. If my stocking is smaller than the direct lines on here, it doesn't matter. What we need to do, rewind. Remember, you're following along with the directions and not always paying attention to me. I'm just helping you out. It says spray, trim. So I could trim this off if I want. I probably should. Otherwise, it gets tucked under. Batting. Okay, once we start putting this on, how are you going to cut out that stocking? You can't see the line, right? So the trick to that is, that's why I haven't trimmed, because I have to sew it down first. The directions say slightly, just the 1/16 of an inch on the inside of this line for the outside of your stocking. You want to stitch a line down so that you can see from the back. Can you? Oh yeah, wait. I'll wait for me to catch up there. But I used a purple thread in my bobbin, so that I can see this outline. if you're stitching just inside or just outside, but I'm gonna cut right on the stitching line. It'll be in the seams. I'm not worried about it. So I'm going to change my bobbin to purple, and that way I can see it. No one's gonna know if my stocking is a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch smaller than theirs or something like that. I'm going to put my stitch length up to 3. And then I will just stitch on the line because I find it's just easier to stitch on the line. You can line your machine up as if you were stitching on the line, and if your machine does it, put your needle over a click or two. Thanks, Jackie. I have to admit, I'm sure we all do this, but I have purchased more patterns that I remember that I've purchased. I need to keep going through, at least on Etsy. I try to only purchase on Etsy now because then I can go to my Etsy account and see everything I purchased and be reminded. Free patterns, oh, that's hit or miss. So I'm going to stitch right on the line, a little bit of a longer. I found with my Juki, it's a Juki HZL F600. If I put my stitch length longer than 3, it does this weird thing that like gathers and stretches and wrinkles up everything. So that long stitch doesn't work for me. So I try not to go too much above 3. And really, it doesn't matter the stitch length. You just don't need to, you know, don't make it so small that you're here for 5 minutes stitching. And if you go off of the line, you can either restitch that section or just say, I'll fix that when I cut it out. Now this stocking is going to have raw edges on the inside. See, I went over. So I'll just come back here and I will start again. I didn't go over by very much, but today I feel like some things are particular and other things don't matter. I'm sure we all have those days. So if you don't like a raw edge in the stocking, we will talk about that. I wanted to start the other one so that we would definitely have time. So I love how fast the machine goes. So that anyone who's watching this in the future will have an idea so that they can see it start to finish, right? It's so frustrating when, oh my goodness, my apologies, guys. At least I can see whenever you're doing. The last couple times we didn't have any ads at all, and now we have ads. So did everyone else get an ad just now too, or is it just me? I haven't watched much YouTube yet this morning, so I'll probably get more ads than I should. All right, so move everything out from underneath to make sure there is nothing under there. My new Joe Momi automatically set a 1/4 with the stitch length of 1.8. Oh, mine goes to 1.2 automatically, and yeah, there's still a bear to pick out. All right, so I'm going to trim the white fabric just outside of this batting. You know what else you can do if you're feeling brave? Watch your fingers, watch your project. Most things can be fixed, but bleeding is a little bit harder to get out of fabric sometimes. Oop, there's the batting. You'll feel it. Now, most of these are, you know, small even for me. Some of them are still good size. I'll save these in my scrap bin. But for things like this one is the salvage. But I'm going to save these along with these little scraps just in case I need to add a little something to finish off the fabric postcard. I like to just go ahead and use these little bits. So I won't get rid of those yet, but I won't save them forever either. I'm going to be doing a video coming up in the near future, probably a Friday before a live stream, maybe next month, that will talk about my new scrap system and how I'm adjusting it for Arizona time, which means nothing. It's just that change your scenery and you kind of change sometimes about things you're doing. So I have a new system and a new theory about it. It's not that far from the old one though. Okay. I've been getting ads even with the premium. YouTube is having some glitches. Yes, they are, because you're not supposed to get ads. Now, the last one confused me because it starts with number 10. So in my mind, it's easy, go 10, 11, 12. These are all in numerical order. But once you do the first one, you can refer back to it, or you can just think 0 for 10, 1 for 11, 2 for 12, because sometimes your brain is just not working. So number 1, I know I want to be the kitty, so I will put this kitty here. Now this was cut into charm packs, so I have no choice of centering the kitty all the time, so I just did my best. It's a stocking, nobody's gonna know. And then number 2, I think I decided to put this color. So these are gonna go here, right sides together. You can put a pin in it if you want, because it is fabric to fabric. This one stays really easy because it's cotton fabric. And then 1/4 inch from, not the line that's there or anything like that, 1/4 inch for where your 2 fabrics meet. So we have our back there. We're going to go through everything. I changed my bobbin because I don't want purple showing up in there. Whatever's in your bobbin, have it match the lining of your stocking, unless you want to have like pink on your white or something like that. You can put any fabric in there. Double check where you were, because if you were talking, you can easily get lost. The numbers are on there. They're not going anywhere. Change it to, mine says 2.0 for the stitch length, and I'm fine with that for most things. If I were using smaller bits of fabric, I would drop it down to 1.8. I do have some blue lines showing. Maybe their lines are bigger than 4.5, or my squares are less than 4.5. It's going to be okay. We're just going to fake it as we go. Now, the couple of videos I found and the directions just scream at you about not pressing this. So I have a gift from several years ago, once I find it, this rainbow pressing tool. I want to say it's from T Quilts, maybe? I have a T Quilts pen, and I think that's the one who had these years and years ago, whether she made them or had them shipped in or whatever. But one of my viewers sent it to me a long time ago. And there's all kinds of pressing things. You can use your finger, a wooden clothespin. You could take that apart and use it, but you just want to press this over. The pattern says to starch everything. Now, when I do it, because not everything is perfect, and I ran across this with the other one, you see right here how it's not lined up? I'm just going to take this and kind of move it over a little and adjust it, and everything will be fine. As long as everything's covered up, whether it's shifted a little bit. So this one, either I'm just looking at it weird, or I'm just going to use the stretch in my fabric to my favor. And I'll pop that on there. I really, really don't like to do the fingernail on there. It's just, doesn't make a sound, doesn't feel like anything, but it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. So we'll put this here, so maybe I won't lose it. All right, so that's 1 and 2. Now 3's up here. And what did I put on 3 for mine? This would be 13. Where is, oh, 13's down somewhere. Oh, 4, that's the one I cheated on. So I do have this one. This one's still big enough for a square. Let me read my directions. I think it says to do something special here. For pieces 5 and 14, so it's this one right here, you want to sew 4 squares together into a strip. For pieces 6, so there's this one, 6 and 15, you want to sew 2 squares together. And that's because, let me get my squares, excuse me for being rude. But when you take the 2 squares for 6, because 1 square doesn't go far enough because of that dotted line, but look at how much waste I have from right there. That's very wasteful. So I'm going to think, do I want to do that? Or maybe I want to take one of my squares and cut it so that I can use it in 2 places or something like that. Because putting this here, it's just, I'm already going to cut this off up there, and then I have all of that. So what I might do is, look at this. Here's my 15. If I put this like this, I'm going to have all of this. So I want to fold this in half and see what happens. If I put that on, yeah, I'm still going to have all that extra. So what I'm going to do, you can pull something from your stash and put something in there. I don't know if I have a lot of, I didn't go looking for a lot of this pink stuff and all that. So I'm just going to cut corner to corner. It's already been sewn together for this one, but that's going to be fine. So I cut that one corner to corner. Close my rotary cutter. Oh, I did. Put that under there. Because the light hits it and it shines everywhere. You haven't gotten any ads, Terry? I am so happy. I don't mind if I get all the ads, just as long as you guys don't. So I'm going to put this for there. And what do I want to put there? Yeah, maybe I'll do that. So how do I want to sew this together? I'll sew this together. You see how I have my center bit there? Because if I had 2 squares, I would sew them together like this. So that would line up there. So that's my adjustment. I'm going to sew these 2 together. 1/4 of an inch. It does have that bias on there, so just be careful. Make sure that, because it doesn't reach all the way up, so I want to make sure that I'm sewing it in the right spot. You can just put the 2 squares together and trim it off and then throw away the extra or use it for something else. Totally up to you. I'm just going to show you, as I said, 92% or whatever. We're going to follow the pattern as best we can, and then we're going to adjust for weird things. Press to the dark side just because that's what they tell us to do, and it works. So that one will work there, and that'll cover it up. I'll have plenty extra. And then for 5, it says I need to have 4, but I don't know why I need to have 4, because, well, there's the 4. It has the toe here. You're supposed to put another one. I just went with the toe and left it go all the way over and then all the way over. So I guess you do need 4. So let's choose the 4. I'll save that one, goes over there. So you can lay it all out, but I always end up, ask my patrons, or you guys even see it on YouTube, I kind of change things. So I'll put that there. And, ooh, that one's pretty, so we'll put that one there. If we want the toe to be a little bit of a pop of color, I can put that there. And that'll add that little color, because normally you have the toe and you put a whole separate piece. These are kind of, so let's do, those are the same fabrics. That'll work. When you have the smaller pieces, use the piece that is not your absolute favorite. Don't put ugly fabric in, because, make it the way you like it. So I'll sew these 2 together. Now I will press these just like I did the other one. And then sew it onto there, because you have to press them. So these 2 together. Line up my bumpies for mine. 5 inches are at the top of the mountains for the pinked edges. So I'll line that up on the side. And then I will sew these 2 together, remembering how I had them. This one, And this one. If you weren't using your phone to go live on YouTube, you could take a picture of your layout so you can refer back to it. If I really needed to, I could take a picture with my tablet, take a picture with my phone before I started and put it on my computer. You know, there are ways. Some people like to color on graph paper. And I think there is, well, there's things you can buy, of course. And then there's like graph paper online that you could probably color because a lot of people do the designs. Just pardon my rudeness while I'm pressing away from you guys. I'm just pressing everything in one direction, and this time I'm pressing it towards that darker square right here. So then I can line this up. Now, you can line it up. Did I line? I did not line mine up so that my squares match perfectly. This is going to be on the back, so there is that one thing. So this one I will line up. Oh, see, that's why I didn't do it, because if you follow their rules and you do it their way, you would line it up and you'd have just this little smidge of this little section, probably about less than 2 inches to cover, and then it would all line up. But I didn't like that, so I did this. So I can line it up there, and then I would need a little smidge of something there. Watch me now. There's extra here. I swear, if you just do things the way they say, life would be so much easier. But why? Why would I want easier? I'm gonna sew this piece onto here so that I can line it all up and make it squared up like it's supposed to be, versus do what you want, Robin. I can do what I want, because don't you just love how I just stand here and talk to myself? Not like, there's 19 of us. I don't know how many are really here. I didn't refresh it. All right. I know there's a lot of people going live today, and I'm not doing a jelly roll project. If I'd have thought in advance, I could have done the striped one and used a jelly roll, but maybe not everyone wants to do jelly roll projects. All right, there I did. I solved my own problem that I created. You can, I was thinking, press these open too if you'd like. Now, before I sew that on, I do have to do 3 and 4. So 3 is pretty big, so I will probably want to do that with a full square, but I've got this here that's going to give me extra. So I might do that too. So let's hold on. That one goes over there. Is there a reason why I need to do 3 before I do 6? I don't think so. So I'm going to sew 6 on first and see how much fabric that gives me left over. I do need to change where I pressed it so that my seams can nest, just because of the previous row. So if I sew this one on, see how we problem solve as we're going? I should be able to take this piece and add it down there. But I can add this too. Gosh, I never thought to piece smaller across together to fill an area. Jody, isn't that how it's crazy, where you can do something all the time and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, I can do that? That is so smart. How come I didn't think about it? So I will follow the rules, and I'll put 3 on, and then I'll do 6, and I'll use that extra bit for 4. Because really, I just feel like fabric is expensive, and it's just, I want to conserve where I can, because I have those leftover bits. I can use those to create a little project bag, a little tote bag, another stocking. You can cut those into 2.5-inch strips, cut them in half in one direction, and make something like a log cabin. Or, all right, Jackie's going to help me. When you put 2 this way, and then you put 2 this way, it's a pattern. I can't remember the name. I told you, turn on the camera and the brain goes blank. But yeah, I do that a lot in my scrappy project bags and stuff because you'll get to a point. And it's a really good thing to learn, Jody, because we are going to do, actually went out and got some extra fabric for the lap quilt. I never thought about piecing. Yeah, I always piece the stuff. Because like I'm lucky I got the stuff the first time. It's usually expensive. So I want to make sure I use every bit. When we do our log cabins next year, if you're going to follow with me and do the scrappy versions, we're going to piece a lot. Because if you're making them larger, like a 12.5-inch block, you're going to want to piece things. Okay, so here's my 2 bits together for here. I'm going to line up, nest my seams, do a practice. You can put pins in or you can just pretend 1/4 inch. Sew it up, make sure you're covering all of your lines. I think I went a little bit short on one, but when I put the 9 on the top, I can always cover it up. And here, let me show you what I mean. I'm going to sew this on and then show you, because if I line up my patchwork perfectly, you know, you can also just figure out how big this is, sew a bunch of 2.5-inch, 5-inch squares together, and then take your stocking template and just instead of going like this, move it to the diagonal on point, and then just cut it out. But this is quilt as you go, so we're quilting and we're going. Courtyard steps, no, that's like a log cabin, but you know what? We'll get on that another day. I'll talk about that another day. It's the, where's my paper? Do 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 do. Whoops! Don't do that. Do 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 do. So you have like bum 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 bum. Ba-da-da-da-da. Some days, that's how I get. Oh, Jody got an ad. You have the 2 this way, and then you rotate them. You make strip sets. So you cut them this way. They're like 5-inch squares, and then you flip them, and then you flip them, and then you flip them. I don't remember what it's called. Totally lost it. Can't remember it all. But I make a lot of projects like that because it's great for tote bags and stuff like that. Courtyard steps is definitely something we're going to do. Almost all of my log cabins end up being courtyard steps at some point. I'm going to start just past the line so that when I sew the stocking together, it's going to lock my seams. You can backstitch if you want. Now, rail fence. Thank you, Jackie. That's the one. It's one of my favorite designs for baby quilts and stuff. So when I finger press this and I take my little, I love it because it's rainbow and the person that sent to me knows I love all the colors. When I put, sorry to put so much pressure on you, Jackie. You see how I have that little spot there? So when I put 9 on, I just need to make sure I go down because this one could have went up a little bit, but I don't think the squares are perfect. My squares and their squares. All right, so now we need number 4. So what I'm going to do when we put 9 on, we're going to be cutting off some of this. So I can make sure there's plenty in the seam allowance. I don't know if I'm going to have enough. That makes me nervous. You can do 3 or 4. So all right, that's making me a little nervous. So I'm going to go over to my scraps here that I have. And I have some of this because you're supposed to cut it for here and then whatever you're doing up there. So let me see if I have any little bits. I buy this fabric every time I see it because I really like it. The glitter is just never fun to iron. All right, so I'm going to put this here. I'll sew it on here and then I'll press it over and I'll trim all of the excess. Rail fences, yeah, it's really great if you need a fast project. The rail fence is really good. Plus, it's really simple. When you cut your strip set, if you're putting 3 strips together and it comes out as 6.5 inches wide, you cut it as a 6.5 inch square. But if you're new and you're not doing very good and your strip set comes out at 6, a strip set is when you sew 2 or more fabrics together, it's a strip and it's a set. So if your 3 equals 6.25, you just cut it at 6.25. You just need to have a square, so no matter what size yours are, it's fine. You just make a little bit more or put a border on it. It all works out. My stitching's on the inside. It's going to get covered over by the next one. I'll stitch past it. It's going to get covered when I sew everything together. So I fold this over, line it up, find my scissors, and I am going to make sure nothing else is underneath. I'm going to cut it on the outside here just to make sure that I don't short myself anywhere, because no, I'd never do that. I'm not going to worry about any of those just yet. Now, I do have a bunch on here, so I can give this a nice little press. Just stay away from the batting or put a pressing cloth on it. But I'll give that a little press. I haven't looked to see what Missouri Star has on sale today. Have you guys been watching any of the Instagram videos where people went to the birthday bash? Some of them are fun. I saw Elvis was there. He was really popular. A lot of people were getting pictures with Elvis. It sounds really fun and exciting. I'm not sure. Maybe something to do once in a lifetime, but I'm not sure if it's something I'd want to do all of... Uh-oh. Gee. I'm not sure if it's something I would want to do all of the time, because unless you're buying fabric and stuff, it'd be good for the atmosphere. It'd be fun and stuff like that. But I don't know. If I lived in the area more than once, if I had to travel and get a hotel and stuff, then I don't know, maybe just once. Uh-oh, I froze myself. Nope, I don't look frozen. Hold on, guys. Not that I need to see what I'm doing, but sometimes I kind of have to see what I'm doing. And anytime you refresh it, you're going to have to go back and change your comments from top chat to live chat. And there we go. All right. What did I just do? I did 6, and that's 4. So now here's 5. So I'm definitely doing it out of order. So the quilt police will come and remove what? My rotary cutter? I don't know. Where is my... Here's my thingy. I put the red for the toe. I'm going to line it up. And it looks like it's going to cover everything for me. And this one needs to be pressed in the other direction, just so I can nest the seams and not have a lump in my stocking. This type of project, it's not hugely important. There we go. Make sure you're still going through your lining if that's the process. Not frozen. Good, good, good. Make sure when you're doing this, check every now and then, because this is a lining. We would have to unpick it if one of my fabrics got stuck to it. That would be sad. And if you start and stop, for the most part, outside. So I do have some places, because I didn't bring my thread to the top. So I do have some places where I can see where I started stitching. So I'll have to clean that up. So that's one thing to think about. Hold on. Wrong way. There we go. To make sure, if you're starting inside the stocking, to bring your bobbin thread to the top. And for those that have never done that, when you put your presser foot down, 1 second, make it easier to have the top thread at the top. I have my top thread. I hold on to it, I drop my needle down, keep holding onto that top thread, and when you bring it back up, it's going to bring the bobbin with you. So just pull it up, tuck it under your foot and out to the back. And then that way you won't get the bird's nest underneath. Table runner pattern with smaller strips, looks great as a baby pattern. Jordan Fabrics has a lot of fun patterns. If you're looking for something that's a big punch of wow with not too much effort, that's definitely the place I'd go. Missouri Star has a lot of fun designs. Some of them are just like repeat one block over and over, and Jordan Fabrics has that, but her brain just works a little bit differently. So if you're looking for something, I mean, it's not going to be unique because anyone else who watches her is probably doing the same thing, but it's going to be fun and different from what you usually make, maybe. These are charm squares, so I did not starch them like they said, but it might have been helpful. I love my little iron, and it's not too bad when I'm working by myself and stuff. I plug it in somewhere differently, but the cord's nice, okay? It is a long cord, but the big iron has a longer cord that I really, really like. So I'm just going to be careful and not go where the batting is. So I just give this, I just like that nice crisp seam right there, the edge to it. Now I'm supposed to cut a long strip to go on here. You can piece this section too. Most of Donna Jordan's designs are free to download. Yeah, and they're her own designs. And I think she really does a good job being comfortable as a quilter. Like you would recognize the blocks, but it still has a little like a unique twist to it for her. You can sew squares together and give yourself that piece. I also have cut some of these. I don't think this piece is going to work now. Let me see. Nope, the heel sticks out. Watch the iron. Watch the iron. This is in the bottom, and since I am limited on this, I think I'm going to sew these two together because it's patchwork anyways, and no one's going to really notice that much. No one's gonna know unless you tell them. I always tell my secrets because if I make a mistake that, you know, I can help you avoid it, I'm gonna point out my mistakes because some people are like, we don't care, and other people want their projects to be as perfect as possible. Sometimes when I sew two fabrics together, I will press the seam open to avoid that little bit of a big bump there that sometimes can be more noticeable. I'm just pressing it. That can be more noticeable. So I feel sometimes if I press it open, it helps hide it. And then I will try to put that seam on a seam that's already in the previous. Oh, seriously? Ah, my apologies for anyone that's getting ads as much as I am. So then I'll put that there. Oh. Oh my. Never mind. That piece isn't wide enough no matter what I do with it. It says right here that for piece number 7, I am supposed to cut it 3 1/4 inches wide. And I wasn't paying attention on my ruler, and I wanted to cut both of them at 3 1/2, and I cut them because just the way the ruler was, I cut one at 3 1/2 and one at 3. So that should work, and I will do it with a scant 1/4 inch, even though I don't care for that, but that will help make this work. And this is why I had to learn how to figure out things as I went, and I also had to teach myself what to do with the extra bits, because when I make these mistakes and I trim off bits and have extra bits, like, what am I going to do with this? I don't want to waste it, so I have to figure it out. All right, let's go. Why do you give me this weird stuff? I don't know why they put ads on top of the live chat and stuff. It irks me. And I thought this was some of the aqua. It's not the same aqua and stuff because this aqua is more towards the green, but I'm hoping it's going to be okay. And when I put things in my shop, I've stopped worrying about it. I'm just trying to line up with my shortest piece that didn't go straight to the line, because you can see what I put in my shop. If you don't like it, then you won't buy it. So if my aquas aren't exactly the same, I'm not going to worry about it because you already know, because you've seen it. Sometimes we just have to let those, it feels thick, let those things go. I'm getting all your ads. Hey, that works, right? I know what I'm saying. I'm not missing out on it. There we go. I was worried about it being short. I didn't even have to scant quarter. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. I will press that in a second. Now up here, we have to put something up here. Now I haven't decided what I want to put up there though. I mean, do I put the white that, 1 second. Let's figure this out. Do I put a white for the cuff? Let's see. The white's not bad. I think if I put the aqua up there, it's going to be too much. The white doesn't look too bad, right, for the white for a cuff? I'll wait for you guys to catch up with me while I rehydrate. Drink break. You think the white snowflakes are up there are okay? Where did I put that? Oh, it's on my shelf. I'm really happy that I brought another black shelf. Oh, this is a white shelf from the closet, and I put it right there. I have my Christmas stuff out. I put away Halloween because I'm not working with it much. And autumn's in the closet because I'm not working with it that much either. So it's nice to be able to, especially during a live stream, to just walk over there, grab what I want, and keep moving. It is a little hard to use. I think I bought 3 or 5 yards of this because I like it. Oh, I can see where I cut it crooked from the stocking. Shame on me. I know better than that. I like to try to keep my yardage with a straight edge. So now this is where I might go ahead and cut off a strip that is, cut enough so that it's 1.5 inches plus the mess, and then I'll take that 1.5 inch strip off and put it in my collection. So anytime I need to straighten up something, I either take the smallest, tiniest amount I can, or I take 1.5 inches and then some to straighten it out. I've been also paying attention and being very conscientious about my process and what I like and don't like with rulers. So you guys know I talk about the creative grids because I love those. I have decided that for the large projects, especially cutting with the ruler on strips like this on yardage, that I really do enjoy using this because it stops it from sliding. I do not have the hand strength. Putting a weight on it and everything does not help me much. What am I looking for? I want to see where 1.5 is. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take this chunk off and save that piece because it's just, I could line it right up and just walk that off, but I want a little bit more because I know I don't have much of this in my scrappy stash. I love this table too because I can hide my tools underneath it, and because I lose workspace here when I have it on, which is why I don't usually have it on. See, now I'm only putting pressure right here and it's not twisting and sliding because it automatically has those frosted areas on the back, and that works great for me because, excuse me for my rudeness again, this is my, come on, I put these, excuse me, stupid hooks on. So when I go and I use this one and I put it down, it slides so easily, so I'm constantly having to recut and trim it. But when I put this one on and I just hold in the center, it doesn't move at all. So with my lack of ability to put much pressure down at all, I can still use this ruler and not constantly be frustrated and having to cut more strips and stuff like that. I'm also going to need a ribbon to hang it from, and I don't have a ribbon because I don't know where they are in the garage somewhere. So I will do this. Yeah, I can put it with my postcards. I can just put it in my white bin. Right now I have all of my fabrics, all my whites in one bin. I don't want to separate out from skinny and wide, and I want to take out the ones that are like black on white and red on white and stuff like that. So number 9 is supposed to be 3.5 inches, but I'm gonna just cut it at 4 because I need to go down a little bit and I don't want to cut it twice, and I just don't trust it. And I use a lot of white in my postcards. See, I can do it right here and not have to worry. This holds it down. So I'm going to stick with this for the long rulers, and I think I want to get one. There's like a 8 by 12.5 or whatever they are. I have to look at them and see exactly which one is the one I would like. And then for my squares, I do pretty good holding the squares, plus with like the dots and stuff. But with my square rulers, especially like 6.5, I like them to slide on purpose. And there's less space outside of, you know, where you put your hand down. So that's what I'm thinking with the rulers. In case anyone wanted to rethink their thought process, I just shared mine. And I can come right back over here and put it on the shelf out of the way. Because with running a business, I also have to separate my fabric between fabric I use for personal use and fabric that I use for the business. So I have to keep that separated, because even if I purchased it and put it as a deduction on my business taxes, you know, 6 years ago, and I haven't used it since, I still have to keep rolling it over every year or pull it for personal use. And then you get, you know, you have to like pay something on it. There's a penalty and a deduction and a cost and whatever they do. I don't understand it fully. All right. This one's that extra. Here we go. Now, we do have a lot here that we don't need because it's that extra. All right, thank you. So I will fold this on that line and finger press it. Make sure everything is staying good. If you starched it, it would help. Starch and I are hit and miss. So when I give it a nice press, and then I will cut on that fold. Now I have these pieces to use on the other one in those weird little spots if I haven't already taken care of it. Or I've just created a small half square triangle. There's uses. Half square triangles, flying geese, and quarter square triangles or hourglass blocks are a great way to use up little bits like that. My shirt's going everywhere. Where is my piece? I need a piece that measures from batting to batting is this much. You'll be skimpier with your fabric if you need to. If you're not a scrappy type of person like I am, then you want to be a little skimpier. Now I'm going to sew this so that, did I give myself enough? So that I'm going to cover up that spot right there. So what I can do is I can take my Hera marker, and if I had a bigger ruler out, I could put the ruler on, line it up, and I want to make a mark just so I know that this is the part I have to cover up, right? You can use one of your erasable pens and all of that fun stuff. So I'm going to sit here and think for a second that if I go up a little bit, that'll be 1/4 of an inch. And when I fold it up, good thing I cut it wider so I can cover it, I think I'll be okay. You can always do a scant in these areas like they wanted you to, and I didn't want to for most of it. This one you could pin it, but I'm just going to go up just a little bit to make sure. We can always take it off or add a fun strip somewhere else to it or whatever. You know, there's things we can do. We can fix it. And then, there we go. Now when I'm done, I'm going to trim off the extra in the seam allowance just so I don't see it. Can you hear my machine is getting a little bit clunkier? The needle is good, I'm pretty sure, but it probably needs to be oiled. I didn't oil it this week because I haven't sewn that much. So all of this that's past my white, I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. You could take it like this if you're very careful. And bring in your ruler and your hidden rotary cutter. And if you're not comfortable doing that, then use the scissors because you don't want to slip. But there is like an edge because of the batting. That's kind of protecting me a little bit. There we go. That's definitely trash. Back in your hiding spot. Creative Goods, easy to read, 6 by 12. Is that the size? Yeah. Whoops. I'm like, that looks weird. There we go. Oh, I'm going to see the number 9 through there. And that blue line. We're going to fix this problem, right? Let's fix this problem. If we're going to go all out for this, let's just keep going. I was a little bit concerned about the white. So obviously, apparently we're doing some correcting as we go. I have some lightweight fusible interfacing in here. This is where I keep my scraps. I don't think I have anything that is that size. All right. This is the P44F Pellon fusible. I mean, I could take out my ruler and measure it and do it perfectly that way, but yeah. Having the interfacing here or a second piece of fabric will cover up a little bit of that number. I get it and all, but that is a definite issue if you wanted to use a lighter color fabric. It might even show through some of the other ones. Fabrics everywhere. Almost anything can be fixed without having to start over. Make sure you have the fusible side down. I don't fuse on the interfacing very much. This is what I do. I just tack it in place. Then I'll do the other one before I sew it down, of course. Now there is fusible sticking out everywhere, so I want to look for my pressing cloth. You can use like parchment paper or like an applique pressing sheet and stuff like that. I like this because it's see-through. I could still see that blue line a little bit. Darn it, darn it. Oh, you don't want to fuse now, do you? Fine, be that way. So we have to make a decision. And I'll show you why I'm going to pull this fabric off and put something different on. You can see that blue line right there. And when I put the fabric and it's not just loose, you can see that 9's still there. So that white doesn't look like, even with the cheat method, it doesn't look like it's going to work for me. So I have to readjust. Then I might just have to put the aqua snowflakes at the top. So if you're squeamish, don't look, because I'm just, oh, not that seam ripper. That seam ripper spins when you use it. I don't like it for that. For this one, I'm just going to cut this. I'm going to pop it. Just pulling it up so the threads are there. I'm only touching the threads. Now this is why many projects will print with the disappearing ink when you hit it with heat, so that you can do projects and use whatever you would like. I'm pulling pretty hard on my white fabric, so I'm popping the stitches up. So when I'm cutting it, I'm really just cutting the stitches. So that's for another day. I'm a little disappointed now. I like the white at the top of a stocking. You can add some minky up there if you want the white, because that looks really nice at the top of a stocking. But one, because my fabrics apparently didn't go up far enough to cover that blue line. And then we have that 9 there. That's an issue. So, all right, threads. Let's take a look at it and see. Because I think this, it's not the right pinks. It's too bright, and I think that's too crazy for it. Let's see what it looks like. I'm waiting for it to come up. Yeah, see, that's too dark and too wild and crazy. So then, if I add this across the top, because it's only going to be a little bit down there. It's not going to be full on. So I guess I can get away with that, right? Yeah. All right, we'll go with that. Let's see what it looks like with just one piece. Yeah, that covers everything up. So sometimes you just have to adjust. You just have to adjust. It's okay. I love aqua anyways. Double check to make sure. Scant 1/4 inch. Make sure I cover everything that needs covering. You have to pivot sometimes, right? I wish with our cutting mats we can just put our, our iron right down on it or something like that, but we can't. So there we go. Okay, so there's our stocking, right? So now I have to finish the other one, which now that we've made one, it shouldn't be that hard. But we move it out of the way so we don't stitch it and get stuck to it somewhere. So we fixed all of our problems. We know what we're doing now. We're missing fabric. Don't know where anything is. Because once again, we've made a mess. A mess, a mess, a mess, a mess, a mess. Okay. So this will work for there. This will work for there. They're the same width, and that'll work for there. Here we go. Sometimes when you have to stop and redo a project, like start all over from scratch, I find that it goes quicker for me because I've already done the process and I figured it out. So it's not like I'm stopping to think and trying to figure out what I'm doing or anything like that. I've already done it. So all of my desert peeps will know chapstick time. I need to find a new chapstick. I've been using the Blistex medicated. I have to be careful. It has to be like, hypoallergenic and no soy, no milk and stuff. But I really need to get a new chapstick because this one's, while it works, it's not quite cutting it, and I have to put it on too many times, right, there we are. Nesting my seams. This time I'm gonna make sure it's gonna cover. And there. Okay, so here we are, we're in the center again, so I'm going to pull my thread to the top so I don't have to clean up as much on the back. It is inside the stocking, and if you're making it for yourself, you decide how much things are going to bother you. What you can live with, what you can't live with. I didn't have to worry about things like a mother-in-law because my mother-in-law did not like anything I made, so I just didn't make her anything. So I didn't have to worry about that. But if you have a picky family member, all right, let's press this. That one piece that's always right there at the crease in the fold of the fabric, it always needs that extra bit of stuff. If you have a lot of wrinkles, I do spritz my fabric with water before I put things on. So I didn't do a fabric for the toe on this one. Because I didn't set my seams, nest them. They're all offset. So this is okay. There is a cover-up stabilizer to block covers from showing through. It is for machine embroidery, but I've used it in other projects. I think Sulky also makes one. That is really great. That is something I think we should all have a little bit in our stash. Because every time I want to make something like gnomes with a white beard or snowmen, it's always an issue with, I'm going to put the fold so it goes on the outside. It's always an issue when you're trying to do that because it's always there. It's frustrating. I'm on the outside, so I don't have to backstitch, don't have to pull it up, and I can just have fun. Always have an itchy nose when working with all of this. I'll give this a, oh my goodness. I don't even have it on like heavy duty ads. I just have it on, moderate, so there's not a lot. So much for that. Here we go, back to the top. Fold it down just past the line. Fold it down just past the line. The Aqua Snowflakes is going to cover up the line and the fabrics won't show through it, so we'll be good there. Trying to readjust myself, my happiness and my mentality for a second. I tried to put that one on because that little shift there took me for a second there. So I'm going to go up, make sure I'm not going to be wide enough. I'm not going to be wide enough. Not going to be wide enough. Okay, 1 second. It's like my leash. All right, so let's see how much do I really need here. I need like 3.5. What's this cut at? It says 3.5. Don't sit on your ruler. So am I just thinking wrong here? Three and a half plus. You know what? I am not going to take a chance. I'm not going to deal with that. I'm going to go ahead, press this. I'm going to cut a piece that's wider, just so I don't have to take it off and put a new one on or make the top of my stocking any smaller or anything. I will use that in a future Christmas card or something like that. Sometimes I'd rather cut a piece and make it a little bit bigger and then, you know, have leftover than to take a piece that didn't work, cut it off and do it again. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes this is just better. Yeah. I'm sure it would have worked, but, you know, make one straight line at least. Put that out of the way, that out of the way, out of the way. Itchy, itchy nose. All right, let's give this a nice press. Because everything will be covered. There we go. Sure, I have extra. I can add this to my strips from cutting my charms too, so it'll be fine. I've added, one second. I've added this basket with the little thin bits, and when this gets to a certain level and it stays fluffy and not squished down, I'll turn it into a fabric postcard. And these are just random bits, so I don't want to mix those in because I want to make one specifically with these fabrics. All right, there's that. I'll make one specifically with these fabrics. There we go. See, look, I have 3 charm squares that I didn't even cut into that they said I would need because I cheated a little bit. I was thinking about using this, you know, the top, the toes, or maybe the lining or something like that, but I changed my mind, obviously. This is the front, this is the back. Now you can go through and add some quilting to this still. Maybe put some straight lines down like that. I think that's what I'm going to do. Flip, finger press, continue. When all numbers have been completed, add your decorative quilting. Then we press it. Okay. So I at least want to put stitching here and down those 2 lines. It's quilted already because we quilted as we went, and that's plenty. But if your machine has something fun like snowflakes for Christmas or something like that, or just garland, you can do that. I have a variety of things that I'm not going to use. I'm just going to do this. Just basic top stitching. Pop it up. Well, let's do a 2.6. You could cut out the stocking first so you know where it's at, the edges and stuff, but that's all right. I'll just go off the edge. And then this one. Fuzzies. You could use a walking foot through this whole process. I don't do very well with the 1/4 inch on my walking foot just because I don't have the practice. So I don't use it too much. And then I'm going to do this one, and then I'll cheat a little bit on that one. That just gives me the straight diagonals. As you're putting the pieces down, we've done quilt as you go before, so you could put this piece down and sew it together, then do a top stitch there. Put this piece on, top stitch. These you would have to do individually, but I think these diagonal lines is going to be plenty. It just gives it that feeling of a quilted stocking because our quilting is invisible because we did it as we put our pieces together. So it's fine. And then this one, I will bring my thread up. I want to go on this side of it. Where the seam is pressed, that's the side that I'm going on. So I want to, I'm off to the edge, so I'm okay. I don't have to bring my thread up then. Just stitchy, stitchy. Make sure you give it a good press before you do this though. And then when I get just close, right at that edge, backstitch a little and I'll cut it. And there's that one. And now this one. So is anybody jelly rolling, or are you guys just working on whatever? Let us know what you're working on. I'm always looking for another project to add to my list that I'll never do, but I always want to add it to the list. Does anyone want to come over and press all of my scraps and make them nice and neat for me? That is on my to-do list soon. I've pulled out some projects that I want to work on. But I need to finish up the acorns and the orange maple leaves because a couple people have called dibs on them. And I have all the supplies to start my rainbow duffel bag. So I want to start on that soon too. So many things that are on my to-do soon list. I'm trying to make sure I don't have too many forgotten projects in my whip bin from Arizona. And then I will pull out the Florida ones and start working on them. I definitely will be pulling out some orphan quilt blocks so I can show you guys how to take your orphan quilt blocks and turn them into like tote bags. And I mean, we all can kind of figure out how to do pot holders and stuff, but sometimes people like to see it instead of just trying to visualize it. It can be a bit of a struggle sometimes. Not every creative person is a visual like that. I know sometimes I struggle. I have to see it. Okay. Diagonals are identical. Clip my thread. Now for my little bits back here, pull out the red threads, and then I'm gonna clip. I'm just adding it to my mat here because I will take my little ladybug vacuum, and afterwards I'll vacuum it all up. Sounds like she needs some new batteries. So here is where I pulled the bobbin from taking the white off. I didn't remove that, of course not. Why would I do that? You could take an eraser or the back of some of the thread pickers. What is that? See, sometimes it's just the simplest things that your mind is just like, what is that called? Seam ripper. That's it. I got it. Working on a drought excluder. Ooh. We haven't had to do anything with that here. The last house and this house, the rentals are both from the same company. And they pulled all the carpets out of the houses, so all the doors have a gap underneath them. But I went to Amazon and I just bought something that sticks to the bottom of the door, this rubbery silicone thing. Now I wouldn't have to do this if I'd have remembered to bring my thread to the top, because most of the time when I do quilt as you go, I have a faux backing on it. So if you were going to turn this into a stocking without the process that I'm going to show you, you would probably have just a batting or a faux backing also. And I keep thinking about the community quilt, but I need to sit down and make some flying geese quarter square triangles, half square triangles, stuff like that. Just to fill in. It's that prep work. Once you get the prep stuff done, then even a wacky, crazy puzzle quilt like that will go together quickly once I have the components. Because then it's just laying it all out and just choosing, okay, I have these 3 different size half square triangles. Which ones do I want to use? Because if I use all of the fabrics that are kind of similar to what's in the quilt or accents, then I'll be fine. Okay. Now it says, because we have that drawn line, that we can cut along the draw line. I definitely recommend not using your rotary cutter, but use good scissors. I am using my Kai scissors because they're super sharp. Keep one of them out of the way. You can use your seam cutter along there, but maybe you'll want to stitch down these flopping pieces first. Mine are all okay. Everybody's out to the edge. Just lay it down nice and flat. And I'm going to cut through. I'm cutting right on the line. Depending on where you sewed your line, you know, adjust for that. If you don't want it in the seam allowance, then sew it just outside of the printed line and cut just inside of that stitching line. You could always remove it if you need to, and you don't have to use, because I can see the white thread, so I didn't really have to use a darker color, but I thought it would be nice for you guys. If you go super fast, you can make a mistake, so go at your own comfort level, and if it takes you a bit, it takes you a bit. You can be wild and crazy and go like this, but hopefully you're having a good day, and I always say you don't have a hiccup or a sneeze or something. And I don't pick this up and hold it in my hands because these bits aren't stitched down. If you stitched again from the back side and stitched them down, then you'd be okay, a little top stitching somewhere, wherever. But otherwise, I just go like this. And then if you got stuff in the way, just cut it off. I have plenty of bits here that I'm going to save for something else, or you can just get rid of it. We will need to make a tab, a hanging tab. We're going to have to use our own knowledge to figure that out, or you can Google how to make a hanging tab for lots of seams there for a stocking. I didn't cut right on the line, so I can always take that off if it bothers me. This one, I'll hold on to it. I just need to get it up a little bit to go through those tough bits. My sons will stand outside my door before they knock to see if I'm doing a video or sewing. Sometimes they don't knock on my door because they hear me talking. They think I'm talking to you. But I'm just basically doing this. Be careful now. Watch what you're doing. Go around the edge. Sometimes I just talk to you guys like you're here, but I'm not even doing a video. I'm just doing my thing. Hi, Carla. Hi, Lee Allen. Yeah, the scissors for this is important. I might do the rotary cutter on here if everything is laying nice, but for this project, still more fuzzies from that seam. I would want to be really careful. Now remember, oh my God, Robin, what you just made, like, I like the fabrics and the colors. Why did I get a Valley Girl sound? You might like the colors and the fabrics, but you're like, oh, I can't see that. I don't know. But then when it comes like this, now I think the aqua's all around the snowflakes. That's not too bad. Plus we're going to have a seam allowance, so it's going to get even smaller. So things do get better as you get going. So if you're not quite sure about what you had, just like string blocks and stuff, just wait through it. Make sure everybody is nice and flat, and we're not going to have any problems. Carla, I'm so glad you were able to finally get here for a live stream. They are long because we're coming up to 2 hours, but So I'm going to just show you how you can cut this. I have my fabric. Everything's good. You could always take this with a ruler if you have a straight line and just go like that. But what's going to happen if you aren't all that comfortable or great, or the dog jumps on you, a kid screams, a doorbell rings because your Walmart delivery or FedEx is here and you jump? This way, I mean, you can figure out something to fix it, but this way is just a little bit more control, even if I go a little bit quicker this time. Sometimes you just have to slow down, and other times you can go quicker. So I think I would use just the white thread, 100%. I can see it. I thought the purple was going to be much better, but you can always use a lighter dark color, like a light purple or a yellow if you're using the white. But I would be able to see the white because it leaves an indent due to the batting. Then I wouldn't have to worry if it's in my seam. Now when we're done, you can either you could serge this when we put it together. Once we get that way, I'm just filling airspace. You could serge it. It's a big seam there. Or you could put binding on the inside. I'm not really a fan of that for every situation, but sometimes it's okay. I like a fluffy stocking, but I've also been enjoying with the binding instead of sewing them together. All of this will be a fun thing for later. So you could, no, I think I like the toe to the right. I was wondering if I was crazy or something. So you could sew these together and then put a bias binding all the way around it. But what we are going to do is we will be sewing that together, but we need to put our imaginary ribbon in soon. If you had this, excuse me, fiber dust in my nose. If you had this fabric as yardage, or you have something that is nice, because I was just looking at this salvage. You could put a piece of salvage for your hanger. Use a 1/2 inch, okay. Piece, flip over, cut out. Place the piece sides of A and B right sides together using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Sew around the stocking. I'm going to use a 3/8 because that's just what I do. 1/4 inch is just too narrow. It makes it really hard in case you miss anything, because these stocking shapes might not be exactly the same, or they might have moved and stuff and stretched or shrunk when you were doing stuff. Okay, the ribbon comes after we sew it together. I don't pin unless pins are really like a necessity. Put everything away. We're going to leave the top open because we're going to put binding around the top, I believe. Yep, there's binding that goes around the top. So I want to line up my bits right there where these top aquas go together. And that's, I like to get a nice, some clips are stronger than others, so I like to put that there. I'll line those two up because you may or may not see it, right? Put that there. And then when I do that, oh, I have this here I can line up too. Line that up. Hi, Pat. How are you doing? I'm glad you can come hang out with us. Now, I'll put some clips in between those just to hold that in place. And then I have this spot here. If they don't line up, and if you put them together and it ends up like obviously like you have a big bulge or something, then don't worry about lining it up, because if it doesn't line up, it doesn't line up. It's not a crisis, but if I can, I will. I don't always pay attention, but the color side of the clips go up and the back is flat, so it rides flush along your sewing machine and it makes everything supposedly go better, but I don't always pay attention and flip them. So again, you can do this with anything. If you don't have this batting, you can just randomly put things on there. Check on Missouri Star if you want to get the pre-printed. You can also see the ones with the strips on it. Quilt in a Day has a nice little strip stocking, a mini one and a larger one, where she shows you how to do the quilt as you go in the strip format. If you guys want to make the strip version, let me know. We can fake that next time. I didn't grab that one, and I don't think I wouldn't actually I personally wouldn't purchase it because I already have the cotton batting, and I like to use the stuff without the scrim. And when it comes to putting like 2.5-inch strips or wider, narrower, I could do that on my own. I can show you how to draw it on the stocking if you want, or we can just wing it. All right, did we talk enough to get to the end? I think we made it. Drink break. Because when you're standing here talking, you need a drink. Oh, excuse the clumping. I'll put that there. Okay, I like to put my clip bin right here because I get this immense joy out of just throwing them that way. I think I will. This is 2 pieces of batting and all of the fabric. So when I do needle in the center, it gives me a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and my machine goes to 2.4. So I think I'm going to go right there. Leave it at 2.4. I will backstitch at the beginning. And if my top, I can see it's slightly different in length, just maybe 1/8 of an inch or so, I will trim it afterwards because things might move, but I will backstitch. We're not going to have to turn this stocking right side out or anything like that. And then as I get a few, I just shoot them that way. So I can go like this. It's like table hockey. Go slow around the corners. If you need to, needle down. Lift up your presser foot, adjust. It's a really gentle curve. You should be able to just guide it, but if you're struggling. If you're putting binding on and you have these wrong sides together, right sides out, I would still do this. You go around and you put a little basting type stitch to hold it together. I would then just do something more like the 1/4 of an inch or so just to hold it together, so then when you put your binding on, it'll cover up those stitches. You can also use, not for this one, we need to sew it, but the other one you could use glue or double-sided tape, things like that. Ease around the corner. If your stockings didn't match up perfectly, you can match them up the best you can and then trim afterwards. Now, oops, I was supposed to backstitch. That's okay. I watched Shabby Fabric and the Fat Quarter Shop. They both did the stripe one, and I don't think either one of them surged around it or anything like that, but I don't like the crazy raw edge, so I am going to zigzag. My machine does overcast, but it's very slow and I don't have to, so I am just going to put 3.4, and I want my stitch length to be 2.6, and then my width is whatever will work in. Yep, 3.4 is going to work for me. So I'm just going to do this. It's going to help stop it from fraying. It's also going to flatten this out. You can do this if you're putting binding on this side or the other side. With all of this batting, it does help. You could trim the sounds so loud and vicious. You could trim the batting out of the seams. If you get to a part where your seam allowance was a little narrow, I'm just pulling the purple threads off because it's right on the edge. If it's a little narrow, just let your zigzag go off of the stocking. You know, it's okay. You don't want to go past your stitching line. down we go. You can always take a lint roller to it later, because all those pieces, I'm sure, are going to touch it again. Hide them. There we go. So, whoop, it's almost like playing jump rope over here. I have purple stitching. Where's my seamy ripper? Just pop up some of this. It's not everywhere, so why not just pull out some of it? I won't take the time to do too much of it. Okay. That'll work. To clean all the thread out of my computer every time we finish a live stream. Now, you have little bits of thread sticking out everywhere, so we can trim some of that off. Just to help, there's the beginning thread, just to help keep it from being horrible. I still need to trim the top. I don't have much of the other sides like sticking out. They're pretty well even here. A little bit there, not too bad. But now across the top, I'm not even. So I'm gonna lay this flat, take one of my rulers, excuse all of my gray hairs up there, right? And where it's sticking out on this side, I'm going to line it up with the shorter side and trim this off. Because when we go and we put binding around the top, it's going to make it easier. It's a little thick, so your rotary cutter might struggle a little bit. Okay. Joined a live when you had them on Fridays and you did the 9-patch square, which I've made a top out of favorite sports. Yeah, the 9-patch and the sports fabrics, that works out really well, Carla. I like that stocking pattern is wider. Some took, oh yeah, they're so narrow, and when you go and you turn them and stuff, it's really difficult. So let's see where we are now. Trying to follow the directions, but you guys know I'm terrible at, oh, because there's curves, before we turn this, we have to clip a little bit into our curves. Now I'm going to be clipping through the stitching I did in the seam allowance. It's not that big of a deal. It's not structural, it's just there to help with some of the fraying. And whenever we have a curve, when we turn it right side out, if you want that curve to be smooth and not have bumps and everything, you need to clip into the seam allowance, but you want to clip close to the stitching, but not too close, because you don't want to, you know, your stitching to come undone or clip into it. I always say if you cut into your stitching, then just take it back to the sewing machine and make a little bit wider stitch so you cover up wherever you clipped. So when we put this in, right now there's no give to it, but when we clip this, it allows the fabric to move, so it gives it that ability. So we'll just do it in the curves. It's great to have, these are Kai scissors, it's great to have a scissor that is sharp and powerful to the tip. And those seam areas, you can do pinking shears, but pinking shears are really tough on my hands. And I don't have that much seam allowance. I mean, I have a bit, but not enough. Now this is a straight area. I still go ahead and do it. And I'm sure there's a rule. Some people cut V's out. Some people do it every 1/4 of an inch. I do it every, like, okay, here's a spot. Okay, here's a spot. Okay, here's a spot. And it works. I think the batting idea, rewind. I think the binding idea where you put them wrong sides together and put binding on it would be really great for like the stockings that Lee Allen has seen, where it's really narrow. So this way you don't lose anything with the seam allowance and turning it. You would just put binding on the outside of it, and you, ooh, really thick seam allowances. See, these scissors are amazing. Thank you so much to the person that sent them to me. I use them all the time. They are my go-to. I don't even worry like, oh, these are my good scissors. I don't want to get them dull because you can never sharpen scissors, she says sarcastically. But these, they say online you can cut just about anything with them and they stay sharp and they can be sharpened no problem. And I think they have the warranty on them that if you do some type of damage to them, they'll replace them, but don't quote me on it. All right. So let's see now. Clip curves, trim curves, raw edges are serged or overlocked. Turn stocking right side out and press. So make sure you're in the stocking. Look at how great that is. And I don't have skinny arms. With all that extra stitching, I don't worry too much. I don't want to be forceful. Now with this, I might not even need to use a pointer thingy. I can just run my hands. I made stockings for my sister's family, and my sister is a little wacky sometimes, and she was wearing her Christmas stockings as booties around the house. So she would take like her stocking and her husband's, and she would wear them as booties because they were nice and warm, and I made them large enough like this for her foot to fit into it. I have little sparkles everywhere on my table from the aqua. All right, there we go. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing the log, hold on, excuse my head if it's in the way, the log cabin quilts next year. Like I want to start them soon. I don't even want to wait till next year. I still think I'm going to run my crochet hook along that seam just to help push it out and make sure it's nice and to the edge. I guess if you wanted to, you can do your stockings with like a French seam and stuff too. I don't know about that. Well, I said I like a fluffy stocking, but I also like, I should have brought that, oops, sorry. I should have brought the one with the binding out just so you could see the difference. Oh, that's really pretty. Pinks and aquas and a little, the green I was a little worried about, but I didn't want to keep like repeating fabrics. But there is green in the cat's stocking and the green in the poinsettias. So we're good. Right? Crazy sisters, right, Jackie? They're all, someone's always got to have one. Now, since these aren't quilted down, you can iron wrinkles into it because they do shift and move. But it's okay. It is a nice quick way if you were doing the strip one. So, thank you. Yes, I think this would be great for everyone. Let me know if we should do the strip one and we will do it. When's our next live stream? October 5th. I mean, if we need to do the stripped one, we can do that. We can do a Halloween version. I know some of you would like that, so then you could see it. Because some people do have them for different holidays and decorations. My kids were all grown up when I learned that what you can do, I'm going to leave this out because we're going to need it in a second. What you can do is put some fun things in your kids' Christmas stocking when they're younger. Put a simple game that doesn't need toys. Put maybe coloring book and crayons. Put maybe a little simple breakfast like a granola bar or a Pop-Tart. And then you hang this after they go to bed. Santa hangs it at the foot of their bed or on their doorknob or something. So on Christmas morning when the kids get up, they can go and unwrap everything in their stocking, have a little snack, a little bottle of water or something. They stay in their room and they do whatever's in the stocking when they're, old enough to do that. And that way mom and dad can sleep in past 3 or 4 in the morning. So I learned that afterwards and I thought that was really neat. So let me bring this up close to show you. I'm always amazed at the magic of quilting. See, we don't have any puckers going along there. That's because we put those snips in it and we have a nice rounded toe, and even in that area, because like when you're doing bibs and stuff, you can get like weird pulls and puckers in there and it just looks so nice. Ooh, look at that. It looks so nice. I will be in Washington for my mom's. Oh, I'm so sorry, Lee Allen. You'll be able to catch us on the 19th. I have no idea what we're doing at any point. But I do like the idea of maybe doing a Halloween stocking with the strips, and then we can put the binding on it. I have yet to do a tutorial on how to do bias binding, but it is on my list for next month. Let me put my drink down, close the lid. Where is my calendar? I've actually started doing something because I will schedule out and say, these are the projects I'm going to do. I'll tell myself. Excuse me. But when it comes time to do them, I'm like, I don't want to do them. So what I've been doing instead is these planners have a little spot here where you can take notes. So if there's 4 Fridays in the month, I put 5 or 6 projects down there that I could do for a video. So if I don't like one of them, I'm not locked in and I can do a different one. So in October, the ones that I have is scrappy large hot pads for Christmas, so we can make big hot pads that put casseroles on top of. Bias binding, just the simplest way to cut bias binding from a fat quarter. Although I did see a little thing on Instagram of a little cheat method that I want to show you. Then we can do circle coasters using our bias binding. Cheater 4 patch. There's an easy way to do the magic 4 patch. So I only have 4. Oh, and there's only 4 Fridays. So that's something that I had marked down for there. Oh, that might work because I have bias binding on October 4th. So if I follow my own planner schedule there, we should be able to do that. Hi, Giovanna. What size Creative Grids rulers were you using earlier? That one is a 6.5 by 24.5. I love it. It's my special ruler. I have, oh, you can see it. It's hanging right there. Now on this same cabinet, no, it's a big cabinet like my black ones, but white over there. Where did I put my ruler? Oh, here it is. This is the ruler I use. This is my original Fiskars. It's a 6 by 24. And I use this one still to wrap my yardage up to put it on my shelf. And I also use it if I need to like use a pen to draw a line and stuff like that. So, because the numbers are all worn off, the lines are worn off and everything. So this is one that I've had for, I don't know, maybe 10 years or something like that. It's one of my second original rulers. All right, so now we need to do the ribbon. Now, if you just have a ribbon, you're in great shape. Oh, wait a minute. We might have an option for a ribbon. Hold on, let me grab all of my cord here. My crafty fairy godmother likes to send me fun things that if I knew where I put those fun things, she sends me her leftover ribbons and stuff. Of course, since I've been cleaning, I stuck them somewhere. Oh well. All right, so if you have a ribbon from a fat quarter bundle or something, you can use that. I think that would be great. But if you don't have a ribbon, I'm going to show you. Oh, I think I see it. Hold on. Okay. So I have some jelly rolls. I have a mini jelly roll. Oh, this is the one I'm sending to the giveaway. I haven't seen the giveaway winner yet here in the chat, so I'm sorry, you guys. No one in the chat that I can visibly see has won the Missouri Star one. This is like a 30s repo. Fun ones like that. Okay. So when you have the ribbons that come with the fat quarter bundles, you can just take one of those. Who made this fabric line? I don't think I have an Urban Chicks. I don't want to put an Andover fabric one on it. That would not be fair. Marcus Fabrics. So these all have the ruler lines on them. Those are fun. Henry Glass. Moda has all of the rulers. Those are really fun. Riley Blake. Can you see what some of her favorite fabrics are? Oh, see, Riley Blake put on it, creating high quality fabrics to inspire and delight. So then that means, you know, if you use it, you're going to have that on your project, which isn't a big deal, but I might not want that. And you could put a narrow ribbon on, but I feel like you need something a little bit wider, more Moda, but I don't think rulers would work for this. All right, so again, you could take the selvage off of something, but I think we'll just take a piece of the white fabric. I've got so much stuff everywhere now. What will I ever do? I always laugh at myself after a live stream because I have such a mess to clean up. I do hope that Missouri Star lets me continue, because they don't just do you go through this one website that checks your analytics and all of that, and my Instagram are just starting to build up because I just did it for fun and not as a business. So, you know, it's hit and miss there, but they do take the analytics from YouTube, so that's good too. So they'll see all that. I am really surprised, guys, at how nice this came out along the edges and everything. That looks really pretty. But to do the thingy, we're going to do like when you make the straps for a tote bag. So we'll take a bit of fabric. You take a little bit of a wide piece of fabric and rotary cutter, and however you want it to be at the end. It's like doing the key fobs. So how wide do we want our ribbon to be? So we can look at our ruler, and we can take our ruler and do we want, I think a 1-inch ribbon is a little bit much. So maybe just a 1/2-inch hanger. Does a 1/2-inch hanger sound good? 1/2-inch hanger times 4 is 1/2 1, 1 1/2 2. So we just need a 2-inch strip by, don't you love my exact measurements here? I think it's usually about 4 inches, right? Yeah. So I'm going to do 2 by 4 1/2 because I'm going to put it into the seam allowance. And you could put some interfacing on it if you want, or you can just do the fold it to the center and fold it to the center type thing. So I think I'm just going to do the fold and fold. And now this is my lining fabric, so therefore it matches. And the white is a nice pop and contrast. So hide you, put you over there so I can lose you at some point. I have missed the bucket almost every time that I've thrown something over there. All right, there's my strip. Iron your strip. I will admit that I don't use the little pink silicone mat that comes with this, and I have gotten into the bad habit of letting it sit on my wool mat instead of pulling it up. And I was watching one of my tutorials when I was editing it, and I had the big iron, and instead of letting it sit there and do its thing, I was putting that one up because I'd been using this one so much. All right, wrong sides together, fold it in half. Just a random Robin thoughts. Oh, Giovanna, are you getting a lot of rain? It may not be on for long as we don't have electricity. Oh no, Giovanna floods a lot. I'm going to fold both raw edges into the center where that fold is. Normally I do one at a time, but this is such a small piece I can usually get away with doing them both. Always come back and watch the replay. I know you might be bored without electricity, but uh-oh. Hope Jackie retracted her message and not YouTube. So now, I haven't done anything permanent yet, so before I sew this in or sew it together and stuff, I'm just going to double check to make sure that it's the right and it'll work. So if I put this in here, maybe I would go to 5 inches next time instead of 4 1/2, but I think it's fine. I'm going to do a top stitch, a scant probably about just 1/8 of an inch, scant 1/4 of an inch down each side with my pretty white thread just so it doesn't stick out. You totally messed up. Good, good, good. Because I thought, ooh, Jackie doesn't normally say anything that YouTube doesn't like. Oh, look, I'm on the zigzag stitch. For me, if I put it at the 1/4 of an inch, which is to the side of my foot, and I run my fabric on the inside of my foot where the opening is, if you kind of understand what I'm saying, that's usually a good spot to just run it. There's also a little line in there that's nice to follow, a little hashi mark. Needle up, spin it around, and back down. I have been having fun now that I've turned my Instagram to a business Instagram. It allows me to see, you know, the insights and stuff. And it shows, you know, how many people have watched it. Are they followers or are they new, you know, just random people, and how many times they share it and stuff. So it's kind of fun. We got flooded twice, May 1st this year and then 2 days ago. Yeah, you were flooded. Every time I got hurricanes in Florida, Florida hurricane season seems to be Italy's flood season. Fold it in half. Let's see what it wants us to do. Fold ribbon in half and pin to the back edge seam of the stocking, aligning loose ends of ribbon with top raw edge of stocking. This will be sewn in place with the binding. But I never follow that rule. I do put it back there, but I take it to my sewing machine and I put a tacking stitch. I just sew it in place. That way, it's right so it lines up with the seam. But that way I don't have to worry about it shifting and moving. So I will pop it under here. I'm going to, I think, do this because I'll need to take that off and put it somewhere safe. I'll need to take that off. There's all my hidden mess. I'll need to take that off anyway to put my binding on, you know. So now I can put it on that arm of the machine. Make sure you decide which way you want your stocking to go. Obviously this is reversible, but if I'm putting my thingy on the back, sewing thread next, woohoo! Finished up 100 spools of machine embroidery thread. Now I need boxes to pack them in. Yes. Pop that in. And I always forget too, this is gonna, I mean, it's not my style, but I could easily keep this and hang it up. But this is gonna go in the shop, so I have to put a label in it too. So before I get any further, let me find my labels, because even though I'm a little bit late, it'll be easier now than later. So I have the iron-on ones that I can use. If I could have put it in the seam and used one of my fold-over ones, but I think I will just put an iron-on one. But then I would have to stitch it, and the stitching would show. All right, I'll do the fold-over. And then the binding will cover up the stitching and stuff like that. Because, I mean, I don't have to put my label in everything, right? I don't have to. Oh, no, that's hard when you have to throw away books. Sometimes if you catch it in time and they haven't gone funky, you can try to lay them all out and dry them and stuff. But sometimes when you're talking lots, then it's just better to let them go, and that's really sad. Now, when you hang a stocking, and if it opens up a little bit, you can see here. So I'm going to put my label on the front because nobody needs to see my name when, you know, they're looking in their stocking and stuff. But I want it to be there so they're like, oh, where did I get that stocking from? Oh, yeah, that lovely shop from Robin. She makes such pretty things. How do you like that, right? That's the end of the day when I get tired and bored. And I just kind of walk around the house talking to myself like that because I'm a weirdo. Weirdos unite. You could be a weirdo too. You could be a big kid too. Boop, boop. All right. I also tend to get a little wackier when we get to Halloween and Christmas because all the fun things come on TV, the commercials and the movies and songs and stuff. My cats still look at me after all these years and we're a little wacky when I start singing like Rudolph and stuff. And they definitely don't like it when I pick them up and dance with them. So, yeah. All right. Hey, do you have a video of how to make those little witch hats you had? No, I do not. They are from Art Gallery Fabrics Instagram account. I have not. I think I need to make one more round to see if I've mastered them, and then I might be able to do it. Now, it's like if it's 60-second long video, I'm shocked because it's just like on a reel or something. If you watch the Missouri Star one where the lady made the big witch's hat, the quilted one, she's the same one that made the little ones. I tried to change it up and make it work for me, and it didn't work. So, yeah, I kind of have to follow what they say. All right, now we're going to have to put binding on, and really, that's just the end of it. And, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, that's not too bad for us. Binding, fold and press 2.5-inch binding. So, hey, jelly roll day, right? 2.5-inch binding in half, wrong sides together to 1.25 inches wide. Press binding right. All right. I want my binding to be white. I rarely do 2.5 inches anymore. So, is this enough? Look, it's enough. Nice. Let me just press this so I can cut it. I'm going to cut mine at 1.5. Maybe 1 3/4. Just because I don't want a big, thick, chunky, firm binding on it. I don't need it to be that much. So this is where my 1.5-inch strip bin comes in handy because I could pull that out and I probably have some snowflake fabric in there, but I'm not going to mess with it just in case. We've been on here long enough. Hey, remember when we used to only do videos for like an hour? Haha. I don't think we've done that in a long time. I fold it in half and the fold, it just created it and it makes it all wonky, so I'll just straighten it up. Not a big deal. And I normally do 1.5 inches, but I think just in case I will do 1 3/4 inches. Line it up. Rub the eyeballs. Get rid of that darn purple thread. I don't press it in half. I don't press down. Sometimes I'll press down 1/4 inch when I'm doing my mini quilts, but I won't for this one. I'm just going to wing it. I will take, even up the end, of course. I will fold. I'm not going to do the connecting with the bias line and anything like that. I'm going to connect mine somewhere near the edge seam somewhere, and I'm just going to fold over the edge. That's all I'm going to do. I've been gone all day and just noticed you were live, but I'll go back and watch. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll look up the Missouri Star video. I don't know how I missed it. No such thing as weirdo, only different. Exactly. We're just a little bit different. What type of thread do you use for quilting? I have mostly cotton. A friend said the poly cotton blend. Oh, there's always going to be someone that tells you something is better than the other. I use cotton thread for mine, and I've used Joann Fabrics, and the Joann's Fabrics has worn out in my sewing my squares together faster than the thread has. Now for the, did you ask about the actual quilting? I've been noticing, I have my high Halloween swap, 12.5-inch Halloween swap blocks. They have been on my bed every year, every winter, and I've had them on all year here in Arizona because, as I said, my room is freezing. I used Coates and Clark, whatever thread comes on the spools that you get at Walmart and Joann's and stuff. I don't know if it's 100%. I think it's a poly cotton blend. And my quilting thread is breaking in different points from being used and washed all the time. I have not seen any issues when I use the Missouri Star thread or the Connecting Threads Essential line. So I think what it comes down to is quality of thread. Use the best quality thread that you can afford, that your machine likes, and then go from there. Maybe make 2 placemats and use poly cotton on one and your favorite thread on the other, and wash them every week, whether you use them or not. Anytime you do laundry, throw them in the wash. That's a great way to test out fabrics and threads, and then see what it looks like after a month or 2, and if one is better than the other. Like maybe use, put a label on it so you know, like placemat 1 is red, placemat 2 is blue, but you used white thread on both of them or something, so you can differentiate so you know which one has which thread. I think it'd be better than saying I used white on this one and red on that one, because then it could be a color issue or something like that. So just go with that and then see which one lasts longer and then make your own decision. This rotary cutter is the Missouri Star one that came in our box this month for September. So this is Missouri Star. It doesn't have any other markings on it. This one's an Alpha. This has the little slide. This one's very light, and when I use it, nothing moves. It gathers a little bit of lint on here. This one is a little bit heavier in all aspects, but I kind of like it. But I'm not sure if I like it more because it's just sharper. But when you bring this out, this wheel spins all of the time. When I bring this out, this doesn't spin. That's my finger going round. So I can't use it to cut threads like that when I do a seam. So that depends on what you like. And when I'm cutting with it, it does this thing. I don't know if it's this one or if it's me, but when I'm cutting with it, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster, like it bumps up and down. So I do like the Alpha one. I'm using the Missouri Star one. It doesn't bother me. I also have this Alpha one that I just got when I ordered something on Amazon. It locks in the open position. And I only use this one when you guys freak out a lot because I leave the thing open. Otherwise, I use brand new blades, so I use it for cutting a lot of things. Not a brand new blade, so I might use it for trimming up the edge of a quilt. And then this one is a little duller, so I use it for batting. So that's what I do. All right, Giovanna, we'll see you on the replay. The Missouri Star Quilt Company video was about a month ago for the hat? Yeah. They did that one a little bit ago. Okay. So does it tell me? I think I'm going to put it on the outside, or it's like, do you want to hand stitch this or do you want to machine stitch it? And I don't think I mind machine stitching it, so I think I'll put it on the inside. To make this again, I would 100% stitch along the line on the top of this, because I have 3 bits here that are just kind of flopping in the breeze. So when I go to put my binding on, right sides together, I have all of this that I have to keep track of now to make sure everyone's staying all lined up. Pin it, clip it, yeah, but at the same time, a lot of times I'm like, that's just too much like work. All right, I can't because I need to do that. So if I was putting it on the outside, I could easily put it here, but I'm doing it this way. So I would either have to sew blind from the edge, if that makes any sense to those of you who know what I'm talking about. So I'll put that back in. How many times have I dropped something today? Connecting Threads Essentials, I see no reason to change. Exactly. I have used the Connecting Threads Essentials for years. I'm having a problem that some of the colors and some of them have, when I get the brand new spool, it looks fuzzy. Before I ever sew with it, it looks fuzzy. So that's why I've been switching the Missouri Star. Plus Missouri Star fits in the top of my machine. I'm using Essential Threads right now, 100% cotton. I really don't care for polyester very much, but I'm going to leave a little space so that when I sew over, I just have room. I'm going to put this down. I could clip it, but why would I do that? Why would I make life easier? I'm going to put my presser foot down, 1/4 of an inch, 2.0, and then I will just hold it all in place and just go slow. I'm going to watch where I'm going, hold it, stop, needle down. Roll my stocking a little so I can go to the next section, line everybody up, hold it, and sew. Presser foot up because I got a lumpy and I'm moving things around here. Line it back up, presser foot down, make sure the hanging ribbon's in place. See, now if I had that hanging ribbon pinned and stuff, oy vey. Line that back up, line this back up. And just, I don't know why mine looks a little wonky there, but I'm just following the edge. Are we good? Good to know, good to know. Railroad, watch. All right, I'm good. I'm good? Okay. I really was so excited. I can't tell you how relieved I feel a little bit right now that some people actually ordered my advent calendars yesterday from the shop. And thank you so much for those of you that did and for those that took advantage of that sale. Because I thought for sure that only one person was going to order the advents and that'd be it. I'll feel much better after everyone opens them. I struggled so much, not with what to buy, because I have, to be honest with you, I'll probably talk about this again on Whip It Wednesday, but I bought 4 advents for the shop and 1 for my friend. But a lot of the times I bought 6 things because when I bought something, I bought it for myself too because I liked it. So I tried to put things in the advent that I like too and that would benefit a quilter and stuff. I did put a couple things in that might stretch you a little bit and you might not be interested. Like, let's say I put in I didn't do it, but what if I put in a beading kit for a bracelet? Like, that's not quilting, but if you don't like it, you could always give it to someone else. But then I struggled with the pricing because there's shipping costs and Etsy fees and the cost to get the stuff. And I was trying to do, I got stuck on the, let's just make up numbers. If I sold the advent for $100, would people expect to get $150 worth of stuff? But if I did that, then I'd end up losing money. So I tried to just make sure everything was fair for both of us and just went from there. So we'll see how it goes. And then next year I can adjust based on the feedback. And next year I'll probably do more mini ones, like 5 or 10 day longs, so that people that don't want a bunch of stuff or maybe don't have the finances to do it, they still want to do something, they can get a little something without breaking the bank. Because there are some Dollar Tree things in there, you know, $1.25, you can only get it for $1.25. You can't, because that's what my friend and I always did, is the Dollar Tree stuff. So I was trying to stick with that. So it was a struggle. I'm gonna have to turn this right sides out and clean up more of the thread later on. I'm just gonna grab this one while I see it. All right. So I'm gonna bring this around to the front. Let me see. Okay. I want to press this. This is interesting, you know, trying to do stocking stuff. I don't make a whole lot of stockings. I made a few, but my kids wanted store-bought ones. My daughter liked the simple, like the felt looking red ones that you would just get. She was just happy with the Walmart special. Robbie had one. He's my youngest, even though he's 25 now, still the youngest. But he wanted a gray one with snowflakes on it. And so everyone wanted something. So I'm going to fold the edge. This is how I do single fold. I fold the edge so it matches with the top of the stocking. I'm just going to finger press because this is a tube. I think, I told my patrons, you know, they won't know yet until tomorrow, but I was talking to them about how I really think I'm going to go back on some projects to hand stitching my binding on, just because I change, you know, what I like. And I mean, I'm making it for the shop, so some people are going to like it hand stitched anyways, but I still have to do things that I like and can do. But I think that that's something that I'm ready to go back to doing that, to not have that stitching and everything. Look, I have a ham. Maybe I should use the ham. Will that fit? Oh, yeah. So I actually use glue on mine because I've tried pinning and clipping, and I don't know if I could do it with glue here. We shall see how it works. It does work better when you open it. Remember to trim your thread from the beginning. Rub your nose enough from the stupid fuzzies. Sometimes I just go outside just to get some fresh air. Something clunked. Come on. Some fresh air after being in all this fiber all the time. Poor Mocha, she's got the sneezies too. Plus we're coming into, apparently, we are coming into Arizona robin allergy season. So my videos will start sounding like this every now and then from my asthma. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm fine, I just get a little raspy sometimes. And then you want to bring it so that it comes past. And because I made it wider, it's going to be a little bit of a wider binding up there. So you want it to come past that stitching line. Oh, this is not fun. It's definitely not fun. Okay. Stitch your binding to the outside, bring it to the inside, and hand stitch it down. Okay? That's my suggestion. That is my suggestion. So I don't think I'm going to be able to glue this. I'm going to have to pin or clip it and just wing it. You want to make sure you go over where your little hanging thingies there is so that it holds it down. It's kind of like doing things like this for a tote bag and everything. So just tuck in as much as you need and pull out as much as you need to make it as even as you can, especially on the front. And then this is the back, so we're kind of winging it on the back. You have to try different things, right, to figure out what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with, what style stocking you enjoy making and which ones just irritate you. I think I need to make it a little bit longer on the other side where the tag is, where the hangy loop is. The hangy loop takes up extra space, so you might have to pull out some of that inside. There we go. We can do hard things, and we can do easy things that just get hard sometimes. So I would just put pins and clips like you're doing curves. To say I have been getting more interested in these pinks and aquas together. They are really kind of nice. Just making sure, I mean, no matter what you're going to do, however you do it, you want to have things that are nice and even. And if you use the lining fabric on the inside, and that's where, your binding is pulled to the inside, as long as your fabric, if you use the same fabric as your lining, they're not going to see if it's a little crooked or something because it matches. So this is the seam area. The seam area is a nice spot to put glue on though, to keep it nice and even. You there, and you there, and there we go. Ta-da! Okay. Now sometimes when you're doing this, it might be a bit of a struggle because of the clips. Like I have I have one leg underneath here, so the clips tend to get stuck, and there's a struggle. My tether. Normally I would stitch like this. So I'm just going to be careful. I usually use a stitch and a ditch foot for my top stitching on my binding like that. Okay, this is the back. So I'll start on the back. Get myself going, find my way. But I can do this without the stitch in the ditch. Just line it up so I'm just past the fold. Bring my thread to the top. And we just go slow. We just go slow, right? Little back stitch. I want to thank everyone so much for hanging out with me today. I'm going to do my best to do my rambling now so that when we're done with this, then there will be no rambling left. Appreciate you guys watching my videos and putting up with all of like the Missouri Star Quilt Company posting right now. I haven't looked to see what's on sale today, but there was I love K-Facet fabrics, and being able to find the charm packs and stuff for 50% off or more, that's always fun because charm packs, the fabric's not going to really go bad, especially charm packs. You store them out of the sun, maybe in a little plastic bin or in a dresser drawer or something, filing cabinet, and then you'll have it when you want it. So if you buy it when it's on sale now, if you can afford it right this moment and you're busy with life and work and kids and you don't use it for a while, there's going to come a time, hopefully, like when you retire. Here's my seam, and then you'll have it there for you. Even though you're not using the newest and greatest, trends always come back. Aqua comes and goes. So if you bought it in, well, maybe not the 80s, but fabric is much better now than it used to be. So you can always buy it now and use it later. Find the good sales and stock. I'm at the seam, at the side seam here, so I'm just going slow. Stock up on things you know you use. Like if you use a lot of whites and neutrals for backgrounds, stock up on those when they're on sale. That's why I like to get the wide backings. And when they have like, buy 2 or 3 yards, I mean, that's a lot. But if you use a lot of like whites and creams or something in your backgrounds on your quilts, then it's worth it to stock up on them. Now my stitching line is not perfectly even all the way around because I wasn't able to glue it. But back stitch, it's going to be the person that is a quilter and says, oh, I know Robin, I watch her channel all the time. I'm so happy to have one of her products that I can look at close up. We're like, oh yeah, no, she's right. She's not perfect. But if you just have it and you give it to someone who's not a quilting person, they're not going to really notice unless they're picky about everything in life. Get them a gift card, right? So then we'll take this and we'll do this. There are patterns where you make the cuff that folds over. Those take a little bit more of a brain space to think about, but they're not difficult. I put my seam right there. Whatever. Again, it's not a crisis. It just wasn't what I was hoping for. But maybe the person will hang it the other way. There has to be a seam somewhere, right? We have to have a seam. So here's my hanging loop. Here's my sad seam. It's not noticeable. It's noticeable because I notice it and because I'm showing it and everything. So here's my stocking. I think this turned out really nice. This is the Kitty Christmas. I used it as the charm pack. The squares are 4.5 inches, so I trimmed them down. This is the June Taylor Quilt As You Go square stocking, sew by number pattern printed on batting. Easy as 1, 2, 3. There's also the stripe version. As Jody said, there's bibs, there's placemats. I've been hearing a lot of people are using the printed on batting for the jelly roll race today type stuff. So they're doing the tote bags and using jelly rolls. We had our little accent. See how it landed on the toe? This one's regular. This one has the accent. So I think it turned out really well. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I will check again on Wednesday if I remember, but anyone who's watching the replay, let me know in the comments if you would like to do this in a stripped version, and I'll pull out some more Halloween fabric. Or, well, yeah, no Halloween fabric. I don't think I'd need a stocking for fall, but I might be able to sell one in my shop for Halloween. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll see you on Wednesday. And if you're listening to me and you weren't here posting on the live, double check over on Instagram to see if you're the one that won the jelly roll from Missouri Star. I will keep you up to date as soon as I find out that Missouri Star is bringing back the 20% discount.